Hi, I'm Jale, welcome to my channel. We're going to today address the elephant in the room. I'm not going to say the name of this thing. I'm not going to give the official names of this thing because we don't want to create more of that energy, but I'm going to look into this thing. I'm going to be really honest with you. I've just touched my face, which is a definite no-go. I'm going to be very honest with you. I've actually been looking into this for a few days. It's finally got my attention. It shouldn't, because I feel like that's part of the problem we've got here, is that it's fear-led. I know obviously people are getting ill. I know that it is fatal according to some. I'm very aware of that. However, my concern at the moment is the level of extreme heightened energy around this, that I'm not, and my guides aren't happy with. Okay, this is a test. You're probably going to hear me say this the rest of the year. I said this to you a couple of months ago. This is all a test. We are shedding karma, and when we shed karma, we're given other tests in order to test what we've learned. Okay, and everyone is learning this at the moment, and it is under the spotlight of everyone. It is, you can't escape it. You go somewhere, you go on social media, it's there. You go outside, people are talking about it. So it's my turn to address it. Okay, to be honest with you, I was actually not going to record this, but my guides were kind of like, who are you kidding, you know, you have to say something. So first thing I want to say is that I do, I'm a healer. I'm actually a psychic surgeon. I have done some energy work of late that did suggest to me that it was of the energy that we're discussing here, that is obviously very much in the public eye at the moment, that are making people ill. I'm not going to use the name of it because, again, I don't like the idea that this energy is so concentrated around these names. I'm not going to fan that flame. What I am going to say is that I've done psychic surgery now for 2 years. I'm a healer. In a more, I would say, more shamanic sense, the best way to describe it. And what I'm offering to you is for you guys, if you do need any assistance in this matter, I do offer my time on a donation basis. And what that means, because obviously this is my job, I have to ask for some money because otherwise I wouldn't eat myself. But what I would say is that if you want to give a token payment for the time that is spent for me to have a look at your situation, whether it's this situation or anything else, then by all means email me. I will be honest with you, if you do contact me, there will be some questions because there's only one of me, and because I obviously do offer it on a donation basis. I have previously had people where they come to me and then they come for everyone in the family, and then my phone's getting blown up, and then my emails are getting blown up, and I've had to kind of knock that. I've had to refuse people because it's like they've taken it to the nth degree where I can't actually live, breathe, eat. They're blowing my phone up because I'm obviously not capitalizing on the money side of things. So I'll be honest with you, that's not a thing to say, oh, you know, just give me 1 pence or $1, one whatever, 1 cent, and then that's fine. What my suggestion is obviously based on how many sessions we do, because obviously 1 hour is one session. I've also had people come to me before that have not mentioned all the health conditions, have come to me, and then they just go, right, well, I'm paying for 1 session. And then suddenly I look and I'm like, yeah, but you've got COPD, you've got progressive heart failure, you've got arthritis, and there's like a list of, and it's like they expect me to do that in 1 session, which I'm good. I'm just not that, you know, I can't do 100 things in 1 hour. You know, that's, let's be realistic there. So as I say, the idea here is that a token payment is given based on, obviously, once we've had a discussion about what your needs are. Depending on how much time I suggest that you're going to need, a donation payment is requested. And then if after the time has passed, when you feel like, you know, that's really made a difference, then I am definitely open to tips, essentially. As this is my business, this is me, you know. So yes, I am putting all my information that I've learned into records so that potentially I may actually teach this at one point, because it is my own way of doing things. No one else does what I do. If you're interested, email me. As I say, if you are struggling with money, we can look at that. But obviously, if I'm getting 5,000 people contacting me and you're all offering like 1 pence, $1, then, you know, I'm going to have to kind of, you know, work it out in a certain way that will be fair for people. And that may mean that I come back to you and say, look, no, sorry, or look, sorry, first come, first serve, and, you know, I can't do this for $1, you know, I've got like 100 people waiting. It depends. So, and obviously because the situation we've got going on at the moment, that's another, we've got to weigh this up. We've got to look at this realistically. So if I do come back and say no, please don't be offended. It just means that my guides are either saying, look, maybe this is not right for you, this treatment, or something else. So email me if you're interested. I'll put my information in the description box. The other thing I want to say is I have had a look into the specifics of, now obviously I can't test this out yet. I've yet to find someone who has actually got this illness and has actually recovered from it. If you know someone of that nature, can you get them to contact me, please? Because I do need to try and work out a few bits and pieces for obviously healing purposes. And I've only seen one potential case. So, and I want to know more. I want to see more just to make sure that I'm getting things right. Because obviously, let's say, for example, I think this is going to go on for a couple of months. Okay. So I want to make sure that I've got all the information at hand so I can help as many people as possible with only one of me. And in that time, I want to try and do what I can, because obviously this is my calling. You know, this is part of the reason I'm here. I'm not going to go into the actual specific where it came about, and the reason I'm not going into that reason is I've done 3 political predictions on Facebook at basically about 100% accuracy, and I was getting some really weird messages. My algorithm was being stopped. My channel subscribers were being removed from my channel, and so I sent a message to a subscriber because they were asking me when I'm doing my 4th political prediction, and the creepy part was I actually replied and said I won't be doing them anymore because they don't want me talking about this on YouTube. And someone liked the comment, and then when I went to look on the actual comments, the like wasn't there. So I was like, that's my cue to not do this anymore. So I want to explain to you why this illness has come around and all the context, but unfortunately YouTube does not allow me to speak freely anymore. So I'm sure there's going to be at some point ways that I will be getting around this, because it's starting to get a little tiresome for me as someone who is very much doing this job for truth and to share truth and to help. Yeah. But in the meantime, let's look at what Spirit's advice is and look at what Spirit wants to say, because this is not about me, you know. In answer to anyone's question, I feel like August, September is going to be when this starts dying down. I feel like there is going to... Look, I'll be really honest with you. I feel like in the meantime, while this goes on, please, I know it's easier said than done, don't be swept up in the fear. I have got a spiritual support group that I will be linking in the description box. If you feel like you want to join there, please do. I've recently posted a meditation on there that is blocking energies of this nature. I've also posted on there some insights into some essential oils to boost the immune system. I also do have some other insights that, again, I'm going to be testing on over the next couple of days and weeks, because I want to make sure this is right. And the reason I'm doing this is I've ordered the ingredients of, I was channeling a message earlier from spirit guides. Actually, it's a new spirit guide. I've never spoken to this spirit guide before, but he is definitely shamanic. He's actually a witch doctor. And he gave me some very useful tips, which I'm testing out. I don't want to sit and explain them all here. In case it doesn't work. I don't want to put blind, false information out there. So I'm testing this information out first, and if it works, when I find someone I can test it on, hopefully I don't find anyone to test it on, that's my hope, then I will obviously share it. but my basically my insight here is that I think for 2 to 3 months this will go on, and I feel like the fear is the main part, that we've got to be very careful of not fanning the flames of fear. I think it's important to be, you know, keep consciously aware of your health. I'm going to be really honest with you. From what I've seen, I don't actually think it's just how do I want to say it? It's like anything, even if it's food, even if someone's prepared food that you're ingesting, I feel that could also carry. So it's not just if you're, you know, a couple of sort of next to the person. It's like it's not airborne, obviously, but just be aware of that factor. Anything probiotic, anything good for the gut, anything where you're clearing your gut and keeping good gut health, encouraging good bacteria for the gut, is my recommendation in the interim. What else can I say at the moment before we go to the cards? I feel like August, September is going to be when this is going to start being looked at and dying out, but I feel like the heat is going to have some benefit here. I feel like it may die out via heat, but obviously new strains are coming about. But it isn't going to, I don't think it's going to, I mean, this is not going to continue forever. This is going to disappear as quickly as it came. We just, in my opinion, need to be a bit clever about this. You know, obviously practicing good health. So let's have a look. Spirit, what can you tell us, please, about this word that I don't want to use, but you know what I'm talking about? What can you tell us about this? Yeah. And obviously I'm going to have to skip past things I can't say. This is a test for us to be joining and working together. That's the first thing I want to say. This is actually a little bit of a karmic test for people to be joining together and working together once and for all. I'm hearing share the wealth, share share the connection, share the, if you've got something, give it to someone else. If they've got something, give it to you. This is going back to the old sort of caste system, social system of old, when we were exchanging goods for services rather than a monetary system. I feel like you may start seeing more of that as this goes on, which they're saying is very good, because it's bringing it back to where it needs to be, rather than wealth and money being a greedy, you know, there has to be balance, and at the moment there is no balance. There is a distinct lack in some that others are capitalizing on, and they're saying it's like, focus on the positives that can come from this. Okay, now that might sound ludicrous based on obviously what is going on, but for example, when was the last time that you stayed in without sort of, maybe you want to switch off and not go on social media because it's everywhere, so you switch off and read a book, or you switch off and meditate. Maybe you never do that. It's pushing us out of our comfort zones a little bit, to the point where we're doing things that we wouldn't naturally do. Okay, that creates something different. I mean, I don't know if you've seen that post on Facebook where there's certain areas of the world that obviously have totally come to a halt, and if you look, the skies are blue. Like where there would be fog and smog, the skies are blue. Like where there would be people sort of wandering everywhere, there's no pollution, there's no congestion, and the post said the earth is healing. So is this a way of doing that to the extreme, where because the people aren't listening? You know, because this is the thing, as above so below. Okay, yeah, there is one element that I believe has started this for a gain, okay, that I'm not going to go into, because again, my YouTube's just going to get blocked, and then no one's going to benefit from anything if they can't get to the information. It's so annoying, but this is the world we're in right now. There's always a polar opposite. There's a gain to have, and I think what's asked of us at the moment is the balance, to be looking at the balance of all things. Okay, so for example, if you're sitting there saying, oh, you know, I wanted to go on holiday, what about me? Then possibly this attitude is not going to last for you. Possibly you're going to be pushed into a position where you're asked to expand your horizons. Now, yes, usually in extreme circumstances, lots of change can come about, and Spirit want us to delve deep and take this time to look within and figure out what it is we want to change within ourselves, because at some point there is a potential here that we have actually manifested part of this. Now, people I can hear probably going to be screaming at me down the camera lens going, who are you to sit and tell us that we've done this to ourselves? If this is your trigger, then this is your trigger. I mean, I don't know what to say to you, but I mean, look, I'll be really honest with you. I was stuck in a bed. I give this example every time, where I was extremely ill, okay? And yeah, I did. I sat, I screamed, I asked my guides, what the frick? What are you doing here? Like, why? Why? What are you doing? Why is this a thing? Why is this even a thing? What have I done? Where's my soul contract that says I should be doing this? Like, I fell out with my guides in a big way, right? And I'm laughing about it now because they know, they're smiling. Slow down. You are missing something. I was missing something. I was missing the understanding, the quality of things, that, and being grateful for the small things. Like, for example, now I like thank my guides, my ancestors, my crystal divas, my helpers, anyone that has ever helped me like 50 times a day, because I'm just kind of like, I can walk again, I can move around again, I'm not sat here spinning out. And it's the small things, it's the little things. And when you come out of that situation and you're it's like you're being birthed again, because you're noticing everything very differently. That's extremely useful, because you're at a different stage, you've upgraded. It's like you're birthed and you're at this new age again, ready to learn on a different plateau and a different system, because you've upgraded, you've gone up a stage, you've gone up a step. And this is essentially what's going on, in my opinion. I feel like this is part of ascension, but on a mass scale. And Spirit are kind of saying, look, are you in this together, or are you actually separate? You know, like, people sort of smirk when they go, oh, you know, collective consciousness, and oh, I hate this person, I hate that person. We are all interconnected. And there's been so much recently of this backbiting and this me kind of mentality, where, you know, people are like consciously putting so much out there, like, oh, I can't stand this situation that I'm in. Or if you times that by a whole population of a world, at some point people are going to manifest something here, and it's going to create a change, because people have manifested that. This is why when people that are unawakened sort of manifest these things and they get all shocked, I'm just like, what did you expect to happen? I mean, look at without going into too much detail, but look at the political situations in America and England. Look at the disharmony and the discontentment in amongst all that situation. Spirit can probably only listen to, oh, I'm so fed up with the situation, only a certain amount of times before something is manifested within that energy, because energy, everything is energy, you know. And we've essentially created this. Now look, I'm not sure if you can see this, but these two cards here, I don't know if you can see, but I can see a moon and a star on the top part of the card. There's the star and the moon's there, okay? And we've also got the sun there. I'm reading this as everything is as it should be. Everything is as it should be. Now, this is the thing. Obviously, we know that this situation is targeting people with existing health conditions, which is horrible. I'll be really honest with you. You know, I'll be honest, my mum and my dad both have existing medical conditions, and I'm keeping a very close eye on it. That's all I'm going to say. Like, without kind of putting the fear of God into them, I'm just keeping a little observational distance where I can kind of see what's going on, and, you know, make sure they're okay, because obviously they're my parents. And maybe you're sat there going, I can't believe you're saying that there's elderly and people that are vulnerable that are manifesting this. I'm not going to lie to you. My mum and my dad are extraordinarily stuck in their ways. Like I wouldn't sit here and say they're the most awakened human beings on the planet, okay? And maybe they'll learn something. Maybe, you know, this won't affect them, and so, you know, they come out of it and think, actually, I'm going to make the most of this energy in this world and this life I've got. You don't know. To me, I feel like, yes, there is one element that has created this, but on the other end of the spectrum, spirit, I feel, are watching over this, and this is a little bit of universal order that's taking place. And the universal order to me, and this is just my interpretation, is a balance. That's it, no more, no less. Okay, there's something about status here. There's a definite imbalance in status where people, I mean, I don't know if you've seen about people panic buying all this ridiculous stuff. Status is not going to protect these people, you know. You might have stocked up in a way that, you know, to you is really, you know, helping you in this situation, but actually karmically it really isn't. Because what you're doing is you're saying, I want it all for me, and I don't care what this person has, because I'm hoarding it all. And spirit are just basically saying that. There are people, and look, I'm going to be really honest with you, I'm not going to go into this, but I know what this card refers to. There's going to be people capitalising on this, I'm not going to lie. But spirit are asking us to concentrate on the practicalities, rather than actually focusing on, oh, I might be quarantined for this amount of time, and it means I can't go out, and I can't see my person, and I can't do this. Look within, because what it's asking you to do is scale back. Everything is being scaled back so that we can look at the bare bones of something and see if we're happy about it, right? This is the interesting part after this is going to be what the energy is going to be like once we've come through this, because I guarantee you the energy will be totally different. It will be like people are going to be actually relieved, happy to be here. People that you're going to just the shift will be very apparent. Now, you could say that maybe this is going to create a real big shift because of that relief. Yes, quite possibly that will happen. I am debating whether to do a meditation on the new moon, which is the 24th. I haven't decided yet. Okay, I'm debating whether to do that. If you are interested, join the spiritual support group, because obviously that's where I'll be posting the information. And if you are interested and think it's a good idea, put it in the comments. We've got loss reversed. Okay, so again, I feel like spirit is kind of saying, like, what is it you feel is a loss or a gain? You know, it's like, I feel like there's going to be a recalibration of what you hold dear to you. What do you hold dear to you? Do you hold, I mean, obviously people's freedom, you know, it's like our basic human needs are going to be stripped down bare. And so people are going to be looking and seeing things from a whole different perspective of after this. Yeah, see, look, spirit are asking us to be thankful for what we do have here. Okay, they're saying it's not all doom and gloom, but don't forget, we've also got around the May time, we've got the north nodes that are going to be transiting into Gemini and Sagittarius as opposed to Capricorn, Cancer. There's going to be a shift around that time. So I'm going to be realistically honest with you. March, April, May, I feel like the next 2 months, yeah, probably going to be getting a bit weird. Just going to be real. My birthday's next month, so that, you know, doesn't bother me. Doesn't really bother me. My brother's wedding was supposed to be next month as well, but it is what it is, you know. There's nothing, I'm not God, so who am I to sit and sort of moan about that? You know, let's be real. So we have to look at this from a different perspective. Now, personally, I might be actually doing a bit of writing, which I've been meaning to do for a while, which means I'm having to slow down, I'm having to be more conscious, and spirit are very happy to hear that, because I've been saying that and threatening that for like 4 years. So that's what I'm going to be looking at doing. What I would be saying to you is obviously trying to find a way of not fearing what you're seeing, because you got to realize the majority of us are healthy enough, in my opinion. We'll be fine. It's those, as they've sort of mentioned, that are a little bit more vulnerable that we need to kind of look out for. Now, obviously, my advice would be don't sort of stretch yourself so thin that you're looking out for absolutely everyone and then you're getting ill anyway, which is, and run down because you haven't looked after yourself. There has to be balance. That everything in what I'm saying has to be balanced in your own situation. But yeah, those that are a little bit more vulnerable, just keep an eye on them and obviously make sure that you're topping yourself up as well. But just the fear is in my opinion, the one thing that will lower your vibration. It will. It's like you're going to attract it. You're going to kind of manifest it. So just, okay, I get it. It's we're a little bit fish out of water here, all right, where we're a bit like, oh, what's going on? But have faith, send your worries upstairs and say, Spirit, I ask you to look after me at this point. Help me through this. Help me sort of protect me. Archangel Michael, please cut any negative cause, ties and attachments. You can ask your spirit team to send it up there and then, meditate on it, and they might be able to give you advice. Alternatively, contact me. We can have a look at doing a reading for you. But find something that is going to make you... Because this is the thing, they're saying trying to wish the time goes quickly and that this passes is kind of not the idea. And that's the general insight that I'm getting. It's kind of not really the idea here. Okay. Yeah. Don't cut your nose off to spite your face. Like if you're putting so much energy into others and not yourself, that might also not... It's just, they're just saying err on the side of caution with that. I said that before, really. Just err on the side of caution. I'm just listening to what they're saying because I'm yeah, there's a very fine line between feeling disempowered and looking at this realistically. We've got power in reverse. Yes, it does kind of make us very much kind of like pull our energy back, and it really does sort of make us look at things differently, where we are just mere mortals after all, But don't let it get to the point where you're so disempowered that your boundaries, because this is the thing, it's an energy, and it's like anything energetic, we have to create a boundary. You wouldn't just let something walk through your door. Do you know what I mean? So just keep that faith. Don't sort of, again, it's that fear, lowering your fear and sort of disempowering yourself to the point where you're expecting it to come to you. Don't get into that position. Don't disempower yourself in that way and do yourself out of a disservice, because this is a bit of a test. It is the test to see, yeah, look, Spirit are recommending this isolation to protect ourselves, okay? That's what Spirit recommend. They're saying to them, isolate yourself because it is a protective measure, and focus on things that you are, happy doing, and this too shall pass. Yeah, avoid this extremism. They're just saying there's a balance that's being called for here, that we don't need to go into this extreme, howling at the moon type mentality, that what's that going to solve? What is that going to actually solve? Like, I get it, you're concerned about relatives or you're concerned about you, but if we just chill out a little bit and just balance this out and take the edge off it, if it's really scaring you, you need to look at what this is, because this is a survival instinct a little bit, right? But there's a balance between a survival instinct at the expense of yourself and an ingrown kind of wound that you're carrying that is being heightened by this whole situation. Because I'll be honest with you, a lot of people that are freaking out, they definitely have some kind of weird underlying wound that is where their basic needs are being fought against, and so they're scared. And it's like wounded animals everywhere that I'm looking, and I get it, because it's like a human instinct, isn't it, for people to react like that. But I mean, look, maybe it's because I've had like 4 near-death experiences. I don't know why I'm laughing at that, but you have to trust at some point. I'll give you one example of what happened with me in one of those situations. I had a very quick decision to make in one of them. I can either sit and fight this and fight it and be like a wally, or I can say, you've got me, there's a bigger power than me. There's a higher source than myself. There's a hierarchy to all this, and I'm a mere mortal. I hand it to you guys. If I'm meant to be here, I'm meant to be here. If I'm not meant to be here, I hand it up to you. I trust and have faith in you. And lo and behold, I was okay. If we're in that kind of extreme fear of death, that's not healthy either, And I get it. You're saying, yeah, but how can you sit and say there's like, this epidemic is, it's awful and people are dying. I get you, but what do you want me to say? Okay, look, I'll line the road, come and get me. Like, what's that going to do? What's that going to do? Because maybe you can do something to help someone, and so your strength and your clarity and your balance that you're giving to a situation may aid someone else that maybe isn't as strong. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like there's no point, if this is what's upstairs has in store for us, and I say this every single time, there is usually a gift at the end of these things. Okay, now if you are watching this thinking you have lost your mind, girl, then probably I'm not for you. But if you know deep in your gut instinct that there is something magical at work here, that spirit are not going to hand you, you got to remember, we're in the 3-dimensional realm of duality here. We're not in freaking cloud cuckoo land. We're not in heaven. This isn't heaven. We're in a dualistic environment where we've been plonked here. The aim is to make us forget everything and for us to remember things, right? So what do you think is going to happen? Do you think everything, because you've got to remember, there are people on this planet that aren't as advanced in terms of evolution, in terms of their soul evolution. So what you've got to remember, people have been sat talking about this for literally years. What are we going to do about those that haven't woken up? What are we going to do about those who haven't woken up? How do you know this isn't it? How do you know this isn't it? For all you know, this could be the awakening, the ascension, where everyone who literally doubts everything of a spiritual nature could be at the tipping point in this scenario, to where they turn around and go, do you know what, it's weird, I saw Archangel Michael and I never would have thought that would have come out my mouth in a million years. So for those of us who, I've been on this journey for 10 years, and hang on, let me just think, it's almost 11 years. In fact, I think it's 11 and a half years or 11 years. What we're supposed to do, just sit and some of us should know better and should, be supporting those that are not as evolved, not as aware. And so we have a responsibility. Now, notice how I don't say me, because I'm so amazing, because that's rubbish, We all contribute because this is all a part of us. We are all fragments of a same consciousness that have evolved and developed from source energy. And so we are only as strong as the weakest link. And so we need progressive, more increased energy. But what I think Spirit is saying is we can't give you that energy until some of you guys have evolved to a certain point. Now, you might be saying, well, how on earth could you sit and say, oh, you know, our elderly and our vulnerable should be wiped off the planet? I'm not. I don't want that to happen. I'll be really honest with you. There is a picture going around at the moment of an old woman in a supermarket who is trying to shop with nothing on the frickin' shelves. I can't even talk because that gets me every time. Because it's the idea of someone in that position is having to go through that makes me hate this whole thing. And I don't want to hate this whole thing. I want to try and navigate through it in the most balanced way, because there are going to be people who aren't as evolved and aren't as aware of this kind of situation that are going to be looking at us for that insight. And so for me to sit and absorb all that energy as an empath and healer is ridiculous, because I need to release it. So this is my other advice to you, is self-care. Now, you may remember when I've spoken about this before, is I'm obsessed with Himalayan salt. Yes. This is just one of many this is just one of many 5 kilograms. It's pink Himalayan salt that I buy even before this happened. This is just my reserves that I go through, because I work in the spiritual community. Okay, I work with people. I have to make sure that I am of a standard. I can't just be intertwining my energy with things and then just be like, oh, that's a full-time job in itself, you know. So I'm not playing around with that. So that's my recommendation. Now, a lot of people talk about having white sage. That's lovely, but it's not really going to help anything viral. I mean, it'll cleanse your space a little bit, but it's not airborne. I would say practice using sage as a measure anyway, just to clear your space. If you're working with people, brilliant, yes. But I would be doing other things, like maybe putting that in your bath, like a cupful in your bath. I do it 3 times a week now. I used to do it once or twice. Now I'm using that 3 times a week. Because it does rebalance me. It kind of recalibrates me as well. It gets rid of all the spiritual debris, all the energy that I pick up that I just want to release. So yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, look, see, bottom of the deck is bluff. That energy is very important here. Can you see there's someone with the blindfolds? Don't wander into this so aimlessly that you're just you're expecting death and the extreme, because we are very extremely powerful co-creators in this environment we're in, and we're also very, very powerful we're also very powerful. We're able to manifest what we kind of speak of, what we talk of. We can bring out, you know, we can evolve, we can it will develop from the 5D into the 3-dimensional reality. So just watch what you're speaking out. Notice how I don't use the words that are being given officially. Sorry, not using those words. I'm really honest with you. I don't even want to put it in the frickin' tag on the video, because I don't like that. I just think words hold energy. There's a very well-known word that is used as a derogatory racist comment that a lot of people are offended by, and rightly so. And I remember having a conversation with someone locally, because unfortunately the area I'm in is a little bit less advanced, let's say, and there's a little bit of racism around here. So I remember having a conversation with someone who had been brought up on, you know, sort of told off for using that word, and I tried to explain to them, do you not understand that words hold energy? You know, you've got to remember that is such a loaded word that when you're saying that, you're speaking that out into public. There's an energetic attachment to that word that if you're an empath, doesn't even matter if you're of that race, you know, that is referring to that derogatory remark, that extraordinarily disrespectful comment or name is referring to. The energy attached is so powerful. Do you know what I mean? Like that. Do you not understand that? And I'm sat there thinking, I'm explaining this, but I can already tell you, no, you have no idea what I'm talking about. And the comment back was, yeah, but what's the problem? You know, there are bad names for white people. And I'm just kind of like, are we still in this? Why are we even talking about that? This is such a redundant, most ridiculous conversation ever. And I felt like sort of saying, yeah, but there's no comparison. Like, you're trying to explain to someone that you just already know is not going to get it. Anyway, my point is that the wording that has been used for this illness that has been passed around very quickly, I don't want to use the name, and I recommend you not using either of the names. Sorry, words bring energy. Not about to put that all over the internet. Let's see what else Spirit want to say here. This is a long old reading, guys. I apologise, but they want me to. Okay, they want me to say what I'm looking at. All right, so I can't prove this. What I wouldn't recommend you do is go out and start buying silly amounts of this stuff. Now they're arguing about what to say. Hang on. Yeah, they're asking me to give the message of erring on the side of caution, and you've got to remember, if you have any underlying health conditions that advise you not to eat this item, or if you have other pre-existing conditions, then obviously make sure that you check with a medical practitioner, okay? Because I know that this item, you have to be extremely careful how you digest it, because so basically my recommendation, and it's going to sound nuts, literally, is acorns, okay? Now, yes, you can freely get them from oak trees, but I would not recommend, in fact, the advice is do not eat them fresh off a tree. You shouldn't be doing that. You need to follow a procedure in order to clearing out with water these, one sec, I made notes, one sec. Okay, so they contain tannins, which can be harmful when consumed at high amounts, okay? So it's basically an anti-nutrient, which means they reduce your body's ability to absorb essential nutrients from the body, from food, right? So the recommendation, let's say for example you are going to buy this, or you're going and picking it from trees, which I also would not recommend you do. First of all, if you're in an area that has been quarantined, I wouldn't expect you to be going out into that, and try and order it off eBay. There's coffees that you can buy that have acorn. You can also get acorn extract. It says, additionally, consuming high amounts of tannins can lead to adverse health effects such as severe liver damage and cancer, okay? Most of the tannins leach out of acorns when they're prepared for consumption, often by soaking or boiling, right? While no studies exist on the toxicity of raw acorns in humans, these nuts are rarely eaten raw. So my recommendation is you leach out the tannins before you eat anything of this nature, if you are going to do that. And I also would say, do not start going insane buying millions and millions of dollars worth of acorns, because I haven't proven this. I can't prove that that's going to help. I can't prove it. But what I do know is it actually it helps the cells reform in the body. It's got a heck of a lot of nutrients in it. It's got antioxidants, and it can protect your cells from damage, which obviously would mean your immune system is very, very protected. Now, again, I haven't had an opportunity to test this yet, right? And just FYI, if you do try it and it works, can you let me know? Because obviously, if that's the case, we need to let everyone know, you know? Yeah. So yeah, that's the what the guides mentioned. Now, obviously, if you've got an allergy to nuts, then I would say don't do that. They also talked about fennel, pistachios. So again, if you're allergic to nuts, then no. Fennel, nettle, and cardamom. They were the other ones that they mentioned. Again, please do not go nuts and buy that. Like, you know, spend all your money on it, because I can't prove it. I can't physically. This is just my recommendation from what my guide. He's a witch doctor, and he just came through and just gave me the information and walked off. So I don't know if he's doing the rounds, but he came to me and told me that. And he spoke to me in a different language, and at first I couldn't understand what he was saying. Anyway, so let's wrap this up. So what else can you tell us, please, about this situation, Spirit? What is the outcome, please? Let's get an outcome here. What is the outcome? Okay, so there's going to be a mass change on several different levels. This is the world, all right? There is going to be a big change. We've got the moon here. Again, there's a lot of reference to planets, the world, the moon. What else can you tell us? What is the outcome? It could well be that the common thing is that people are going out at night time to get some air, or people are, you know, I mean, look, this is the outcome, cornucopia. So I don't know what else I need to say there, but there's definitely something of benefit coming from all this. Now, can you see all of those little fairies that are this butterfly, which is a butterfly transformation? This is the Devic kingdom here that are coming to give a blessing. So the moon is the feminine, and this is the world, right? So at the moment we still have Lilith conjunct Chiron, which is the wounded healer. Lilith is the dark feminine, all right, which is currently conjunct at the moment. Yes, we are having the sun and the moon conjunct and transit past this at the end of March. So 21st to 25th of March, please watch for... Spirit is saying there's going to be a bit of panic, all right? Do not get swept up in that, because this is going to be okay, but this is about keeping a cool head. If you need to meditate, you know, if you know, having a nice bath, do something to relax yourself and try and keep calm, all right? I get it. It's worrying for people you love and care about, but this is a test. We are going to be okay, all right? Yes, we may lose people, and the idea of that makes me feel physically sick, if I'm totally honest with you, but we have to be realistic, okay? Now, again, I'm going to leave you my email address if you need to contact me for healing. If you are concerned with relative, I'm going to limit it to one per person. I can't do, I'm one person, you know what I mean? And again, I will say no if I'm absolutely worked to the ground. I will have to put it as a no, or refer you to someone else. So let's do one more card for outcomes for this. Please appreciate the little things, all right? Because this, you will get through this. This is going to be okay, but you just have to keep the faith. They are watching. We are being watched, okay? And it's not in a creepy way, in a let's see what we're going to give them. Let's see if they can handle this, and if they can handle it, then we'll get something. We'll give them something for it. So, guys, this has been your reading for the dreaded word that's been bandied around everywhere. Stay safe. Look after each other. Links are in the description box for the support group and also my contact details. Take good care.